It's Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. Thanks so much for joining me today. As always, so much to talk about. Things are moving so fast, and you really need to stay informed. And a reminder, don't hate the messenger. I'm just reporting the news here, giving you my opinion. Love to know your opinion, so please comment down below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And share these videos everywhere so that people will continue to wake up, or at least to try and think a little bit for themselves. Record high share of Americans have paid off their homes. Somebody wrote me yesterday and said there will be no housing crash. There will be no collapse because about 40% of the country has a paid for home. I completely disagree. And I think this individual that wrote me, I'm sure it's a nice person, but more than likely they bought a house in 2021, 2022, so they have to hope that there isn't going to be a collapse. But I don't base things on hope. I base things on reality. I base things on the data. Almost 70% of the people that own a home today are over 60 years old, that have a paid-for home. Many are much older. They're in their 70s, they're in their 80s, even older. But a lot of people are going to die off, unfortunately. A lot of older people are going to downsize. A lot of older people are just going to get priced out because they're on Social Security, maybe they have a pension, but inflation, the cost to maintain a home, to do repairs on a home, to pay those rising HOAs, those rising home taxes, property taxes, it just keeps going up and up and up. And many of these older people, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to sell these homes, and we're going to see much more of this taking place. But older people in general who have paid for homes, a lot of times they just sell, downsize. They're going to go into a condo community. They're going to go into a retirement community. And again, many people get old and they die. And so we have a record amount of people who have paid for homes, but we also have record levels of inflation, record levels of insurance. We're going to see more people losing their jobs. You might be 65 years old, still working. What if you lose a job? Are you going to keep the house? How do you pay the taxes? How do you pay the utilities? All that. So I totally disagree. That's wonderful that we have people like this that can own a home outright. And I think that's doing the right thing, but not every one of these. I think it's a little bit misleading to think that you can't have a housing collapse because, you have a bunch of older people, 40% of the homes that are owned by people over 60 years old without a mortgage. What about the other 60% where people put down the bare minimum, people who are losing jobs, people who are getting absolutely decimated with inflation? So let me know your thoughts on that. But here's another one today on the hedge. U.S. home inventory rate falls to lowest level in 5 years. It says here, elevated rates make mortgage payments more expensive, deterring prospective buyers. And many people are coming to the realization, and again, this individual that wrote me yesterday more than likely bought a house at the worst time in the bubble, in the FOMO, 2021, 2020, 22. And so just like real estate agents, they need to tell us, they need to justify that everything's good, that there's never going to be a collapse. That's what they said back before the '08 collapse, by the way, that we would never have a housing collapse. We would never have an economic crash. Just like they told us inflation's transitory, temporary. I mean, every time they say this stuff, you know it's going to happen. Mortgage apps continue to fall. Home tours, open houses are slowing. Buyers, in my opinion right now, if you're going to buy a home, unless you are buying it at the right price, if you're buying the property right, if you're not, you're taking a huge risk here because I think homes are overpriced. You have elevated mortgage rates, inventory is rising, labor market is starting to really deteriorate. Starter homes top $1 million in 233 cities in the United States of America. I guess they were right. You'll never own anything and you will be happy. California has 113 of these cities with starter homes over $1 million. $1 million plus for a starter home. People are going so in debt to own a home. And one little emergency, many of these people miss 1 or 2 paychecks, they're in big trouble. they're already going to be behind. They are taking a huge risk here. Remember, these mortgages are 30 years. A lot can go wrong in 30 years. If you're buying a house, you better buy it at the right price. You better be putting some money down on this thing, and you better have a very, very secure job. 74% of employees surveyed admit currently living paycheck to paycheck. This was an article today I was reading on the Drudge Report, and no doubt the Drudge Report has definitely changed, but there's still some good information on it. I think the number is higher. I report 80% because I've seen a lot of news sources report 80%. This is 74%. 74, 80%, take your pick. But at the end of the day, if 74% of employees surveyed admit currently living paycheck to paycheck, how in the world is anybody buying a house today? How can you possibly buy a house when 74% of employees surveyed admit they're living paycheck to paycheck? Who in the world is buying a house right now? By the way, this was from studyfinds.org. It's on the Drudge Report today. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. How in the world can we even have a housing market right now when 3/4 of this nation is living paycheck to paycheck? I don't understand it. The hedge today, UPS to slash 20,000 jobs on Amazon pullback and looming freight slowdown. So these are people who presently, many of them probably own a home right now, 20,000 UPS employees. Many of these are very, very good, well-paying jobs. These are good paying jobs. They're now going to have to think about how they're going to pay their bills. How do they replace one of these jobs? By the way, stock market up today, Dow Jones up 300, NASDAQ up 95, on the news that UPS is about to lay off 20,000 employees, and the market goes up. This is another reason why people are not buying homes, because they don't feel like they have job security. Think about you're working at Amazon, or excuse me, UPS 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, and boom, it's over. Why? Because of Amazon. So I don't know. Is it a good time to buy a house? I don't think it is, again, unless you can afford it and you're buying it right. But things like this cause housing collapses, housing crisis. When we continue to see these massive types of layoffs, it's not like, oh, we're laying off, UPS is laying off, 100 or 200 people, 20,000. And let's not forget, they laid off 12,000 in management earlier this year. UPS cutting jobs in anticipation of lower volumes from its largest customer, Amazon. And where's most of that Amazon stuff coming from? It's coming from China. UPS will also close dozens of leased and owned facilities by the end of June. We have in Riverside County, San Bernardino County, there are these massive warehouses everywhere. 250,000 square feet, 500,000 square feet, 850,000 square feet. They're huge and they're everywhere. And many of them are sitting empty. And now when you read articles like this, what UPS is doing and what's happening with the trade war, less product, less supplies is coming over here. So they don't need warehouses to put stuff because stuff isn't coming over. And UPS now just going to bounce out of these leases and these owned facilities that they have that are going to now sit empty. Who is going to occupy them? Who owns them? Not good. Not good. So, when people tell me that there'll be no housing collapse, they're the same people who told me years ago there would be no housing collapse, there would be no stock market collapse, and they were proven wrong yet again. Just like the people that told us inflation, transitory, nothing to worry about. How we've been told now for 4 years in a row that the economy's great, the consumer's doing wonderful. There's just so many great jobs out there, even though they're all in leisure and hospitality, and you need to work 2, 3, 4 jobs just to get by. So I don't know. When I read stuff like this, when I drive by the empty warehouses in my county, it makes me think that this is not going to end well. In vivid video, Beijing vows not to kneel down to Washington. I watched this video, and it said in the video, kneeling only invites more bullying. It also said in the video, compromise won't earn you mercy. And they reiterate in the video pretty much that China's not going to give in on this trade war. So are they lying? Are they desperate? Are they so dependent on America that at some point they're going to have to give in? We're going to find out. We're going to find out who needs who more. I don't know. I think China holds the cards. That's my opinion. Again, I love America. We have to win this trade war. It may be more painful for us, but we have to win this trade war. We may not have the cards in our hands, but we have got to do something to win this trade war. Because if we don't, you are going to turn over so much power to China, and they're going to know it. The world's going to know it. So we're in this now, and I pray to God that we win it. How we win it, I have no idea. Retailers fear toy shortages at Christmas as tariffs freeze supply chain. They're already worried about Christmas. And this is another example of just how dependent we are on China, because we can't even have a Christmas now without China. There's no toys for your kids. There'll be no artificial Christmas trees. There'll be no Christmas ornaments. There'll be no, wrapping paper. There'll be no electronics. I mean, everything for Christmas depends on China. So the United States of America basically cannot have a Christmas without China. Now, I don't believe you have to buy stuff for people. I think Christmas has become very corporate. It's a big money grab. So I think Christmas is about spending time with family, friends, having a great meal and quality time, quality conversation, and just having that time. But we've turned it into such a corporate holiday that everybody's expected to spend money. And where's the money going? It's going to China. Also, 4th of July. I think over 90% of our fireworks came from China. Over 90, maybe I think it might even been higher than that. So we can't even have 4th of July. We can't even celebrate our own country's independence without Chinese fireworks. There's no fireworks without China. So that's a fact, that's reality, and that should concern every one of you. Pharmaceuticals, plastics, aluminum, clothing, shoes, car parts, electronics, you name it. It's all coming from China. We've got to get off this dependency. It's going to take years. It's going to be painful, but if we don't do it, we're going to lose. The world's going to see that, and they are going to have more control than ever, and they will break the U.S. dollar. This trade war is just even more about just a trade war. It is about the future of the United States dollar, the world reserve currency, because the BRICS and China are doing everything they can to get off the US dollar. And if the world wakes up to this and they see more hope, they see a future with China. And many people on the television will say, no, they don't want to do anything with China. Don't fool yourself. Do not fool yourself. We've created a lot of enemies here. 9,000 sanctions we now have globally across the world. We have weaponized the US dollar. We have started a lot of endless wars that have cost trillions of dollars and taken millions of lives. And the world is not going to forget this. We are refilling the reserve now. Energy Secretary Wright confirms SPR refill after Sleepy Joe's reckless drain. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said it's progressing slowly, warning it will take years to refill the strategic petroleum reserves. He said it was an irresponsible action to drain the reserves so quickly for electoral reasons. Sleepy Joe, remember old Sleepy Joe? He authorized a historic sale of 180 million barrels of oil over 6 months to fight gas prices. What do you think about this? He put national security at risk. These reserves are meant for world war, and he put every one of our lives at risk. And we are still at risk because these reserves, they said, could take years to refill. Thank you, Sleepy Joe. But I think this is good news. I want to say that. This is some good news today that we are refilling our strategic petroleum reserve. That is extremely, extremely important and very, very good news. Here's another one today I thought was interesting on Fox Business. Trump to require truck drivers to speak English, pass literacy tests as communication problems mount. Now, I think this is a great idea. I think this is wonderful because if you're driving an 80,000-pound semi down the freeway, I think you should be literate. I think you should be able to speak English. I think that that's just common sense. And it's amazing reading some of these articles I'm reading that so many of these drivers do not speak English. We have no idea where they're from. Again, thanks to Sleepy Joe. But I think this is a great idea. What do you think? Comment down below. But I think no matter where you're from, I don't care if you're from here. There's people here in America that do not, that are born and raised here, don't speak very good English, not very literate. Should they be driving, many of them can't read, should they be driving an 80,000-pound semi down the freeway? I don't think so. So I don't care where anybody's from. You should be able to read. You should be literate. That's pretty basic, right? Be literate, be able to read, and pass a drug test. Simple. And that keeps people much safer. We're having way too many accidents. Nothing is getting better. Texas service sector outlook slumps, prices soar. Perceptions of broader business conditions deteriorated further in April. The general business activity index dropped 8 points to a negative 19.4. The company outlook index retreated to a 34-month low of a negative 15.5. The uncertainty index rose 13 points to 40.5, highest since mid-2022. So look, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter who is in the White House, who the administration is. I mean, it matters, but I'm going to call it the way I see it. We are still in huge economic trouble. We still have inflation running wild. We still have wars going on. We still have big trouble. And now these trade wars with the globe, not one deal has been settled. I think we're getting close with India, but nothing matters except a deal with China. And if we get a deal with China, who's really going to benefit? Will it really be America, or will it really be China? Or will we even get a deal? I don't know. But I'm going to call it the way I see it. And right now, and I'm not blaming anybody, I'm not blaming this administration on this, but right now, barometer check, right now, the economy is in shambles, inflation running wild, too many people living paycheck to paycheck, home prices are way too high. I'm totally against all the cheap money so people can just borrow more money and buy a more expensive home because they can get access to cheap money. This has created these bubbles. This has created a housing bubble. When you give people 2.5% mortgage rates, they can go and buy a house they could never normally afford. But now they've taken on a lot of debt, but they have a cheap rate. And all they do is they look at the monthly payment. And that's how Americans have been conditioned over the years. Don't worry if you can afford it. Just if you can make the monthly payment, it's okay. But now they have more debt than ever. But they're like, well, yeah, but my interest rate's really low, so it's great. But you have more debt than ever. And now with inflation here and rates going up, it's a big, big problem. So barometer check, we are in big trouble. I don't see prices at the grocery store coming down. I still see things going up. I see more people than ever hurting. So let me know your thoughts. And I'm not blaming this administration. They just got here. It's 100 days. They had 4 years of damage to deal with. But are we going to begin? I think if we got a huge tax cut and we got fuel prices down, this summer, major tax cut, fuel prices down this summer, I think people could at least begin to breathe a little bit. I think people would be encouraged by that. That would, again, allow people to breathe. But my concern now is going to be the jobs, and China is going to be an issue. I think China is going to be an issue. They are not going to kneel. I think now they may turn the screws on America. They may flex on America, and it may be painful for them, but I think it may be more painful for us. So as I leave you today, if you need something, get it. If you don't need something, don't get it. But we're quite possibly going to begin to see empty shelves in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out if we begin to see empty shelves in the Walmarts. If we begin to see stuff at Lowe's, Home Depot, we begin to see empty shelves. We haven't seen this in a while. So we shall see. Again, if you need something, get it. If you don't waste your money. But this is going to get it's going to get interesting. It's going to be a very, very interesting summer. I'm going to leave it there today. Let me know your thoughts. Anything you want to talk about, comment down below. People continue to say these are the best comments of any channel on YouTube. I agree. Those comments make everybody think, makes me think, has woken up so many people. I want to thank every one of you for the comments. I may not agree with some of these comments, but I still think. It opens up my mind to think. And I may not agree. Everybody has their own opinion. But I think it's good for people just to think and come to their own conclusion of what's going on and what they should do for their own situation. So please keep the comments coming. They're fascinating. They're fantastic. They're eye-opening. And at the end of the day, it makes us all think a little bit. We got to exercise our minds. Very, very important. We got to think for ourselves. Don't listen to everything somebody tells you. Read a little bit. Watch some of these shows. Think for yourselves, and take a drive and take a look around what's happening in your area, and draw your own conclusion of what's going on and how you should be preparing for it and who you should believe. Are the people on the television telling the truth? Is what you're reading telling you the truth? We've been lied to for many, many years. So use your own two eyes and take a look at what's going on. Look at your own bank account. Look at those interest rates on your credit card. Take a look at your own debt. Take a look at those warehouses in your area. Take a look at the mom and pop businesses in your area, and then draw your own conclusion of just how good things really are. Are you making more money than you did years ago? Do you have more savings? Are you more financially secure? Are you more independent? If you're not, then somebody's been lying to you. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Be careful. God bless every one of you. Talk to all of you soon.